also record. Yeah, I think so. All right, you guys. Jonathan, let's do it, man. Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming here today. Glad you all could make it. I'm excited about my business and sharing it with you today. To start off, System Success Pro is simply a index library for standard operating procedures where all your business systems can live. And everyone here today will be the first to learn about a great offer that we're giving out, which we'll get to in a few. Our mission with System Success Pro is to help companies and entrepreneurs like yourselves learn and grow through successful systems and process documentation and organization. And we believe that you can't grow business successfully without standard operating procedures, but we're going to help you create and organize them in such a way that you see your future business growth path right in front of you.
All right, you guys. Hey, Bud, go ahead off the mission screen just to me, and you can either pin me if you know how to do that or not, but I just want to see everybody while I'm telling this story. So when Brave Healer Productions went from business to more successful business to what I call an empire now, in the beginning, I knew about standard operating procedures. I had some business coaches who were saying, hey, you really ought to write down your stuff. And so I started to do that. It was little old me in the beginning. And now we have 23 independent contractors working for the company. And in the last 4 to 5 years, my business exploded. I went from a 5-figure side hustle business to a multi 6-figure full-on publishing house empire. And I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to capture what the universe was giving me without any systems. And it was me at first doing everything, but I realized pretty fast, and I can thank Tara Backus here, who is here today, for the beginnings of like understanding what a virtual assistant could do for me and then building. And I hired before I was ready and before I thought I could afford it. I fired Tara twice. I'm like, Tara, I can't do it. I can't spend this money. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm firing you. And then like 2 days later, I came back to her and I was like, never mind. Will you have me back? So like, thank God she stuck with me and my craziness. But when I was going a little bit crazy, Jonathan was paying attention to what was happening with me trying to organize my systems. And he was listening to the conversations a little bit. We had a bunch of awesome conversations about it. But Kelly, of course, my main right arm woman in the business, was doing all the publishing management stuff behind the scenes. We had SOPs on my computer. That didn't help her. We had SOPs in Google Drive. And then every few weeks, she'd email me and go, Laura, can you delete some of the stuff? Because my Google Drive is full and I don't want to pay for you guys. I hope you know this pain if you've ever experienced it. And then Dropbox, place number 3, which for every certain amount of time you fill your Dropbox up, Dropbox is asking you for more money. And so our stuff was everywhere, and I couldn't even find the thing that I wanted to send to Kelly to say, hey, could you go do this task for me, this SOP that I wrote down. So Jonathan comes along one day and he hears all this stuff and he's like, you know what, Mom, I think we can fix this. And I sat up a little taller and I'm like, please fix this for me. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do this without an organized place where everything can be, that's easy to share, easy, intuitive to use. And my operative word, you guys, was easy. If you don't make this easy for me, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'll just stick with figuring it out. Right. So that was the beginning of all of this. And Jonathan's going to talk to you a little bit about like who it's really for. I know, I think it was Julie earlier when she first came on. She's like, I don't know if I'm your perfect client for this. But you're about to figure that out, Julie. So I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan.
Well, who is this for? It's for a few different types of people. Firstly, it's for a solopreneur trying to hire their very first employee, taking eventually me, for example. I'll need to set up my first set of standard operating procedures to hand off, as this will be the easiest way for another to take over some of my work. And back when my mom was on her own and she needed that help, she knew she needed to learn how to delegate. Secondly, if you are an entrepreneur like my mom who has grown so much, maybe one or two employees now, but you still feel very overwhelmed. You're trying to grow, but you're doing the majority of the work on your own still. And you're left unable to spend the proper amount of time to take care of yourself or your families, which is the main reason many of us become entrepreneurs in the first place.
Yeah, and I wanted to pipe in quickly here to say to you guys that if you don't manage this, you will burn out. And I'm piping in it like this if this is you and you're still doing mostly everything on your own, you're getting, you might have started delegating a little bit, but you still feel overwhelmed by the amount of little tasks on your plate, and it's keeping you from going out there and doing the real business development or even just your coaching or teaching or the thing that you were born to do. You're going to start to burn out. It's going to feel overwhelming. It's going to feel bad. And some of you may already be in that place or not, but here was the biggest thing for me. There was a day where I sat and things were rolling. Um, things were rolling pretty well. And I had a moment and I literally like looked up at the sky and I was like, and I'm talking to myself, okay? And I said, whoa, there is nobody on the planet right now who knows every single detail of my business. If something happened to me today, um, yeah, I do not have a business that could run without me. There would be problems. And I had a mini freak out moment about it because of the where we got the business to. That realization kind of lit a fire under my ass about sitting down and getting the SOPs done and getting my systems in place. And I started to get excited about that because there was the freedom I signed up for. It was being able to, you know, I hope nothing ever happens to me. Like there's the whole emergency idea here, but also like, what if I want to take a vacation or have a day off or whatever? Like it just wasn't happening at that point. I also said to Jonathan at some point, like every single person I know who runs a business needs this, and we need you guys to not burn out. We need you guys to have your systems in place, right? So this has inspired me so much to share with all of my friends. So, Jonathan, I think there's like one other person that this is for.
I mean, it's for a generality. Uh, Continuing from you, though, this is for any business or business owner who generally feels disorganized or has few SOPs. It's also for you if you don't know what an SOP is or if you don't have any. And it's for you if you've started to create them, but you can't get them organized in a way that's working for you.
So
But now,
really
go
quick
ahead.
before you go to the next slide,
Yeah.
there's a point where I was like, SOP, what is that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what it is, or I think I know what it is. But then when I really understood what it was, right? So you're just writing instructions for your team. It's literally a step-by-step guide that they can follow so they can do a task. That's it. Like, keep it that simple in your head and you guys will be good, right? So go for it, bud.
Okay. Moving from there, what exactly does our app do? Well, System Success Pro is a web app, and at launch, after you sign up, you'll have access to a few things. Firstly, you'll get a password protected, indexed, and alphabetized library to house your company or program standard operating procedures. There'll be a way to easily upload, download, and share files or video links for your documents. And you'll be able to add employees as users with customizable permissions so that you can delegate easily to others while only having them access the documents that they need. And to help you along the way, there'll be a member resource page where you'll be able to learn effective techniques for SOP creation and management, as well as broader curated best business practice resources. Additionally, users will have the opportunities to submit helpful resources here to just share their knowledge to others. And if they do so and we use it, we will give them a shout out for their business on that page. Furthermore, in the future of development of System Success Pro, we are planning to build an in-house standard operating procedure document creator, which will allow for an all-in-one platform to learn about, create, organize, and delegate standard operating procedures. And this will be included in the original subscription when it launches. And we also want to provide members with access to co-working sessions for SOP creation, as well as special guest expert workshops on all business development topics. And we love to hear any feedback on these events or any other events that you guys would enjoy.
Awesome. So you want to pop off the share for just a second, and I want to kind of back up to something that you talked about. You guys are going to have a way to customize the users to create permissions. So I want to give you an example of what that means. A lot of the SOPs, most that we created, I wanted to fully share with my team. But I actually had a set of financial SOPs that I didn't want to share with anybody, or I was going to choose this particular set and it would be a special person that I hired or I partner, in my world, it was actually a family member who was helping me with some finance stuff. And that was the only person that I wanted to have access to that specific group of SOPs. So I like this function a lot because it just allows you to choose who can see what and who can share what. So that was just one quick example for you for that. And just back to what Jonathan said about we want your feedback. If some of you have dabbled with some systems and some things and you're like, well, it would be really great if this had this. What we want you to know is that when we onboard our first clients into this system, you get grandfathered in and you're going to get every new thing we create. So we're in this to make it better and make it better and make it better and make it the most awesome thing, on the planet. So we're excited about that too. And we are especially grateful to two people here and a couple people who aren't here, but Diana and Melissa for being some beta testers of the first round of stuff that we were doing. Thank you, gals, for doing that. They are going to be in it to test and help as soon as it launches as well. So we brought in 4 or 5 people who said, yeah, I'll come in and like try that out and give you lots of feedback. But we also want to say to all of you guys that we're open for that and we really want to make it good. But the program inside is easy to read. It's simple to use. You're going to come in and you're going to be able to log in and see the buckets that you have your SOPs under. And we, again, just back to what I said earlier, I told both Kevin Bredicher, who's here, and he's just not on camera today, you guys. He has been building this out for us. Kevin is brilliant. So anybody who needs some help with tech stuff in the background and you're building things or need help with website stuff, please, 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 all day long, I'll go intro you to Kevin. But we said this has to be easy. It has to look easy. It has to be able, we have to be able to use it. And you guys are going to create buckets. I'm going to give you one example of that. So like the big Brave Healer Productions system, there's a lot of things I have going on in the company on collaborative book projects. That's a big umbrella button. And there's going to be 5 things under that with 100 SOPs under each of those 5 things. But we're organizing a lot around here. But I needed it to be that, first of all, I'd remember what I called the bucket. So like, and you guys, what happens, right? Like you title something and then you forget and you're like, I don't know where to find it, right? So we're trying to come up with the best, easiest system so you won't forget and you'll be able to go in there and look and find it and all the things. The biggest thing that I hear from you all and my friends is, oh yeah, SOPs. I just haven't gotten around to that yet. Or I've kind of done it, but oh man, I'm in procrastination mode because this looks so daunting having to do all that, right? I know why you guys aren't doing it. I know. And I've been there. We also want to make that easy for you. So we're going to do some fun things with this. We're going to give you guys some co-working sessions where we can network and create SOPs together. I'm going to teach you how to use ChatGPT to make some of your SOPs. I'm going to share with you a delegation strategy that makes this such a no-brainer. You'll be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this before? Right. So we want to get you guys started today, actually. So get ready with your notebook and your computer today, because we're going to get you into workshop mode like today, right now. The SOPs that you're creating, a lot of people will tell you you need like all versions, like you need a video and you need a written thing and you need screenshots and you should do whatever. Like, how about what's easiest for you to create? And how about if you wrote your SOPs in whatever fashion or form is easiest for you to create them, but then you had a virtual assistant actually testing them and tweaking them for you and coming up with the final version that works for them. Because ultimately it needs to work for the people who are helping you out with the task, right? So we want to start you off today. This is going to be a baby step, and you can continue with the full task later on. It was the first step that I took. So if you have your notebook, great, you can write it by hand, or you can pull up a document, a blank document on your computer right now and do this with us. But the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come up with a program and or a list of master tasks. You're going to have to sit and do a master task list for your business. The easiest way to go about that is to put the bigger umbrella topics up, and then maybe those have subtopics, and then maybe you get down to one of the subtopics and you're ready to write an SOP. But if you don't write the master task list, you'll never get started. You have to do this. You have to list them out. So for today, to make it easy on you, I want you to pick one most important program that maybe makes you the most income in your business. And you think of one of those things and just write the name down at the top of the paper or top of the document. Now, some of you guys are service professionals. You're providing a one-on-one coaching or healing service, and you may have gotten away with no systems up until now, pretty well. But if nothing is documented, and let's say you had to take 2 days off very unexpectedly, but you still needed scheduling to happen, that's my best guess right now. You still needed communication, follow-ups, and scheduling to happen, right? If you could reach out to somebody and say, hey, somebody, come over here. Could you please keep my scheduling going? I have to be out for 2 days. You guys, this is it. This is like, the feeling of relief in your body should be palpable right now. Because other than that, think of the fire you'd have to put out if you had to try to delegate to nobody because you don't have anybody to delegate to, and or they don't have any place to go to read what to do. And you certainly will not be able to train them in the next 5 minutes, right? So if you're a service provider, then pick one of the aspects of your business of that service. For example, scheduling. Okay. Just brought that one up a minute ago, but client communication and follow-up could be another example. Client acquisition or marketing could be an interesting example. And or invoicing could be another example because, they need to pay you so that you can make an income. Those are examples of aspects of your business where you'd want your systems and SOPs in place. So, John, before I get them going on this list for a couple of minutes, did I forget anything that you want to add?
No, I think we're good for them. I can start sharing and just have an example up on the.
Okay, so you guys, has everyone picked at least one aspect of their business that they just want to workshop today, right? Do you have at least one thing listed? Okay. So cool. So we've got our start of our master task list. And so go ahead, Bud, with whatever we're going to do there. Okay. So Jonathan and I just kind of came up with this scheduling thing as an example, but basically if you already kind of know where we're headed, then go for it. Start listing your tasks under that thing you chose. Okay. Just start writing. We're going to do this for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So make your master task list. If you picked one thing and you've listed, I don't know, 10 tasks under it and you're kind of maxed out, then go ahead and make a list for the next thing, right? Take the 5 minutes and do as much work in this few minutes as you can. When I'm scheduling a podcast, for instance, I've got this example of one of my programs is my author interview. And some of you might run a podcast, so you might relate to this. Podcast or, author podcast would be the main master task title. But now under that are all of the little things that have to happen to make that happen. The first thing for me is I have to send 6 dates to my assistant who schedules them in Acuity and creates the scheduling link that gets sent to the authors. So in the SOP for my podcast program, that first step is broken down into little bitty pieces. And this is where I think some of you get stuck or a little paralyzed, is like you realize how many little pieces and then you realize how much work this is going to be. And honestly, it's not that bad, I promise you. But when you make your master task list first, it will break it down in such a way, and you're going to have some lists there. You're going to have some lists going. So I send dates to Kelly, right? And that's like the first thing on the list. So the scheduling of the episodes has an SOP. Whoever does that has to go into my Acuity scheduling system. They have to log in. So login is at the top of that SOP, right? Log into Acuity, go over to this button and press this. Next, go here, next, go here. But right now, I just want you to list the main tasks under the one program you chose for today. Okay, so we're going to give you a couple more minutes in silence here to list the tasks under the program. Just list them. You can't get this wrong. And we're here if you want to type in the chat or unmute and just ask a question, but we're going to give you another few minutes to work on some of these lists. I like the example that Jonathan has up for marketing. I learned a tip that I'm going to start making a list for my next round of SOPs about marketing recently. And the coach said, well, how do you get paid for whatever it is? And from that piece, the payment, that the money comes into your bank account, you reverse engineer your task list all the way to the place the person found you. And there you've got a task list for one of your things. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to create a task list. Okay, another minute or so, you guys. Keep listing. So if anyone has at least 10 things listed, put me in the chat. Just want to see where you guys are at. See who's writing fast and who's not quite there. Melissa. Oh, Anthony's got 8. Okay. I had another aha this week about my SOPs. And it was that I had done a pretty great job on the operations in my business. Like if you were already a client, you paid me the money and you came into one of my programs, we had our operations SOPs, the things that are delegated to my team. We had those written. What I didn't have written was all the front end, the client coming into my system, the marketing SOPs, client acquisition SOP. Do you even know your process of how you get a client, and have you written it down? I was like, what? I can't believe I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to be writing all those down. Oop, goes my alarm. Okay, so let's take it off the share for a moment, bud. Did y'all, so I saw 7, 8, 1 with 10. Did y'all get at least a few? Any questions? Are you stuck anywhere? Did it not flow as easily as you thought? You're good. Melissa's good. Melissa's been working on this for a minute. Anything else there?
That actually used to be something I had to do in my old life.
Yeah.
So
Your CPA.
well aware of this process and procedure, and oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So once you listen, here's the advice: protect the time in your calendar to do a master task list for your company. Try a block of time, an hour or two, and see what happens. You can knock it out. I promise you can knock out this master task list. And second, here's the second piece. Look down at the list you did make today and decide if it's an A or a B. An A, only you can do. So Laura interviews her authors. I don't want anyone else interviewing my authors. Laura does that task. You get on Zoom with me. I am the only one that's going to do that, right? That SOP is mine. It's in my head. So everything else, like once that Zoom video is recorded and I hit stop record, I slide that to a Dropbox, and there's 100 more steps to my author podcast SOP. None of them Laura should be doing. That's a B. Get it? So look at your list. What are the A's and what are the B's? Just put an A or a B next to the one you made today. Okay. So if you had 7 things, 5 things, whatever, go ahead and put your A or your B next to those things. Only you can do it. Really? Only you? There's what I want you to look at is there's probably some things that you haven't been able to give up control over that really should be a B. And if you found the right person, it would easily be a B. Like you trusted them, they could do it, like they, right? So I really want you to be discerning about your A's and your B's. Lilia, did you have a question about that?
Yes, I was wondering how important that is when you're currently doing everything solo, but hope in the near future that you'll be delegating. I mean,
That's where we would love you to be, because if you set this up now and you're ready, and by the time you hire your first even part-time virtual assistant, they'll be able to come into your world and you'll be able to say, here you go do that. And you don't have to train them. You don't have to spend any extra time. I mean, this is where that comes into play. And I want all of you to have those systems. Here's one more story about this. I met with Anthony recently, and he gave me another aha about whether or not I think I'm going to exit my business at a certain time in the future or not, whether I think this or not. If I'd ever sell my business, there's no way an investor will pay me money unless my systems are in place that are repeatable and they are bringing income in regularly. So like if you ever think that later on it'll either be passed down to someone and someone else will take your business, or someone would buy it, if you don't have this in place, it's never going to happen. You will be maybe selling an email list. That'll be about it. Maybe. Right. So that's another reason, Lily. Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
I was just going to add, Laura, we're all going to exit our business one day. So you might as well be on your terms.
Yeah. Yeah. And how cool is it to think about a business that you did build to that level, that had repeatable systems, that was bringing an income in to a certain point, that investor looked at it and said, ooh, like, I don't know, I'm going to be proud of that. I'm working on it. And I think that's pretty cool.
I have a random question about access. Like you were mentioning, you hire like your first part-time virtual assistant. Do you create like an email, like a formal email under your company for that person, or you allow them to use like their personal email?
This is such a great question. I've done both. And the answer now for us is that it depends, which no one likes to hear that answer. But so if it's Kelly Kashula and she is my publishing manager, she is getting known, liked, and trusted in my business as somebody who is doing programs. It is her own email address, except for we set it up as bravekidsbooks@gmail.com. Brave Kids Books is a branded title under Brave Healer Productions. They kind of know who Kelly is, so I was okay creating a whole separate email for her. But here's the other example.
But it's a Gmail. Sorry, you said it's like
ours is a Gmail. We just used a Gmail.
You don't keep like adding the business suite, like in Google, paying another like $5 for them to have like your email domain.
I haven't done that yet, but here's the other example. We also have 2 Filipino virtual assistants who if we started to use other people's email addresses, like if I sent something to Melissa, but that person responded, or that person emailed Melissa down the road, Melissa sees the name and the email and goes, who is that? It never gets opened. It lands in her spam. So we set up, you guys should all have the ability to set up support at lauradefranco.com. That's a website email that can be forwarded to somebody who can also reply from that website email, so that people in your world, your clients, aren't getting confused about where things are coming from. I don't know about that whole $5 extra Gmail email. Does anyone know the answer to that?
Yeah, it's the paid Google Workspace account. I think right now it raised to $7 per month per users, but it's basically linked to your domain name. But yeah, the best, I mean, if you don't want to spend money, like you can use the gmail.com, it's fine. But yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Okay.
it did. Thank you.
That's challenging. When we do a book launch, we'll send an email from my account, which is a Brave Fleur Productions account, out to 300 people that wouldn't have normally been on my usual email list. They're like strangers to my company because they're getting added on for a book launch. And one of our biggest problems is that a handful will land in spam, and those people never got the email. And there are certain best practices that I'm sure Kevin and many of you know about in terms of making sure people's emails are, your emails are opened and aren't landing in spam. Kevin can comment, but one of the things I learned is, like, if you put an actual link in the email and you're not like, find the book here, and the word here is linked to the link, that is the best practice. If you actually type out that long, ugly link in your email, it'll land in people's spam. That's like one example. One recently, you guys can back me up if this is happening to you, but somebody else just told me that as soon as you add the photo in the top of your email, that beautiful, awesome photo that everyone tells you to put in your email to attract, that is making emails land in spam. Does anyone else know about this? Okay. So I stopped putting photos at the top. I'm just writing the words and hoping my copywriting is doing the thing,
Yeah, this is
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
I need to confirm, yeah.
So speaking of kind of not procrastinating and getting this stuff done, I'm going to turn it back over to Jonathan to talk a little bit about some extra support that he's planning on offering. So are you ready for that, bud?
Yep.
Okay.
If you need it, if you can't be bothered to start it, unless you're in like a session today where we had you do it with us, we offering a whole bunch of different types of extra support. Firstly, before you even sign up, we are offering a free startup consult where we're going to take a brief look at your business, how you do your standard operating procedures, and we're going to analyze together what your next steps might be. For a fee, we'll provide you with a few more hands-on options. Firstly, we're going to offer a 1-hour coaching session, which is going to include guiding you through your task list, which we started today. We'll also go through your program organization and your SOP lists, also prepare you for loading your SOPs effectively, and we'll teach you how to create your very first SOP so you can get started. Building on the coaching session, we're also going to offer VIP half and full days. And a VIP day is going to include the coaching session if it's really needed, but it's mainly going to be a working day of sitting down together. We're going to record the Zoom meeting. We're going to go through how you would do a task. So you're going to go on screen, go step by step how you would do the task. We're going to record it. And afterwards, I'll take it, create that SOP for you. And we're going to do that for a whole bunch of SOPs and upload it directly to our app so you don't have to do anything else. We're going to We recommend a half day for companies that are around 1 to 3 programs for 1 to 30 standard operating procedures, and a full day for around double that, so 3 to 5 plus programs, 30 plus SOPs, and that'll last around the expected full working day of 7 to 8 hours and 3 to 4 for a half day. If you have any special requests that you might need help with, we will be able to offer special support sessions for a custom quote as well. I will give it back to my mom after that to tell you what's possible.
Okay, guys, so I'm sorry I messed up on some big ugly link there when I put it in the chat just now, but if you guys want to get that free chat thing going with Jonathan, that second link will give them either choice, right, Bud? Like
I can.
A networking chat versus a free scheduled chat. I just want to make sure that second link
Yeah,
is
the second link is consult or networking. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what the heck happened on that other one. So take advantage of that, because we're going to take what we had you start today, and Jonathan's going to ask you some good questions, sort some of that stuff out for you, maybe start to think about your bigger umbrella task titles so that you can start to make your lists and all the things. And what I want you to know about all of this kind of support is we're here to help you. So what's behind this for us is like, let us help you do this. Let's do it together. Let's get you past your stuck points of this. Man, when you have this stuff in place, the feeling is going to be amazing. You're going to start to see what's possible in terms of that time freedom you wanted, right? The health freedom you wanted, that health that's slipping away because you're starting to head toward burnout a little bit. Like, let's back that up and move in the other direction. Spending more time with your family, scheduling that next vacation. Once this stuff is in place, it will be so worth the time and effort you made to get it set up. So I want to just give you, and we could take it off share for a second, Bud. I want to give you just the one biggest example from my own personal life. A couple of years ago, I went out to Texas for the Badass Business Summit, and I was asked to speak out there. And I was in the middle of the crazy chaos I was telling you guys about earlier. The business was growing. I was going a little crazy, but I was also really excited that I got to speak and I was going to network with a bunch of people. 4 days away from my business without my systems in place made me a crazy alien. Like, it made me crazy. I came back, re-entered after only 4 days away, and was so stressed out. It's all I could talk about for the week following. Like, oh, what a horrible feeling. So let's jump to the better feeling, because just a few months ago, I got to go to Peru on an author's journey for 2 full weeks. And I had no stress and no worry about stepping away and being unplugged in some amazing place in the world, not having access to my computer. And we did it, y'all. Like, Kelly and I did it in a way that I had so much relief and freedom to be able to do that. I finally thought, all right, I think I can keep going. Because up until then, I was questioning whether or not I could keep going like I had been going. And what a great, great milestone to hit in my business, just having the freedom to walk away like that and knowing that she could handle it because she had everything there right in front of her, right? So, yeah, let's get them the big juicy deal today, Jono.
Okay, pull it back up. The deal today, well, we're scheduled to launch in the first month of the new year. And if you're willing and ready to pre-register, we're offering a great deal here. We're offering half off the original yearly price of $600, meaning that you'll get a set yearly price of $300 for life. We're offering it in perpetuity forever. You also get discounts on any of the mentioned services if you desire them. However, this is only limited to the first 100 members or until we reach December 20th. So if you want to go sign up now, you have a certain time limit before we launch. When you're ready, you can go to the link on screen. That is systemsuccesspro.com/pre-sale. It should also be in the chat from my mom. And again, if you want to connect with me, you can go to my LinkedIn. It's on the screen, or you can scan the QR code for a link to my scheduler for a consult or a networking chat. Either one is great for me.
Yeah, I wanted to just congratulate you, Jonathan, on creating something so amazing. Humongous shout out to Kevin Bredicher to just come along and be our partners in creating something so amazing for everybody. Kevin, we couldn't have done this without you. We're super grateful.
Thank
If
you.
you're, yeah, and if you guys need a warm introduction to Kevin, let me know. I'll set you up on an email. When you all come in as early birds before we're ready, we know that you're doing that on faith and trust and all those good things. And so we appreciate you for trusting us. We're going to make it worth your while for sure. If you're watching the replay today, just reminding you that below the video, we've got all the links we've been talking about. You can schedule a free chat with Jonathan. You can sign up for the pre-sale and be one of the first 100 customers. We're going to call you guys the gold level customers, and you'll be in for life at 300. And that's going to be an over deliver by the time we get everything up and rolling and get to our second wave of what we're planning. I think you'll see what that is. I want to back up to, we're going to bring guest expert business people in to talk to you guys and teach you about different aspects. We're going to give you guys some business shout outs. We're going to help you market a little bit with those shout outs and get it out on social and get you guys networking with each other. So this is going to be way more than an SOP system, if you can't tell already. So let's pull it off of the share one last time and just see if anyone has any questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So any questions, you guys? And any question actually helps us a lot. Like, is there anything missing? Is there anything you're wondering about? Yeah, Anthony.
Sorry, I've been eating the Pokeball. What step in a business's creation, development, growth, do you think this makes the most sense? Like, you register that LLC, is this the first thing you do? Or is this like, no, just go fly the plane, and then once you get off the runway, now we can actually start creating these procedures? Like, what is the optimal time to tell somebody, like, this is the thing you must do before you do the other 100 things you're thinking about?
I love this question because I went back. We've been asking it in our interviews lately too, for our leadership book. Like, if you could go back and tell yourself to do something, what would it be? And I think that if I had started Brave Healer Productions with the mindset of what this is, and every single time I did a new thing, documented it, do you see how it wouldn't even be an overwhelming task anymore? Because you would have it done as you grew your business, and it could just be something that you added to, instead of all of you guys who've been around a minute and you're like, oh, how am I going to do the 3 million SOPs that I have to write? So that's my answer. Jonathan, you want to put a 2 cents in there?
No, definitely. You can start documenting everything that you are doing, any service that you think you can give off to somebody else, any like writing task for social media posts. Everything can be documented pretty much. And so you can start you can start running with documentation, or you can't. And if you don't, you're going to have to end up doing it later down the road anyway. So why not do it once you start?
Yeah, like, can you even build a case for the other thing, Anthony? Like, I just think it's the bet. Like, if you could get it in the beginning, yeah,
Yes, that would be ideal.
yeah,
Can I ask
or
a
soon after.
yes, yes. Can I ask a second question?
Please.
Have you considered how teams might do this, right? Because if you're a solo entrepreneur, and I apologize, I didn't see who was speaking, but there was a woman saying like, I'm already doing everything and I hope to hire someday, but so that person has all the knowledge in one.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have a team where that knowledge is already fragmented? How do we approach that where it's not just me sitting down and like I might know the master task, but I'm like, I actually don't know what buttons to click or even system to operate in order to schedule that meeting or whatever it might be.
This was also me with Kelly,
Mhm.
because there were certain things that I delegated that I'm like, you go figure that out, and I don't even want to know. But the very first thing I told her was, you need to be writing an SOP as you do this, or part of what I'm delegating this, is that you have created SOPs so that when you need to get rid of this task off your plate, and this is what happens with business growth. Your best people, you're going to put them into higher positions, and then they're going to need the VAs. But it's hard to vision that big when you're starting out. So you don't do anything. But I would task them, Anthony, and I would say, hey, for this, this, and this, I need SOPs, give them a deadline. And then you test those with some of your other people. Your other people can go through it and see if they actually could follow the SOP and get it done. And then that's how you'll tweak and rewrite and finalize this beautiful set that goes in the library. Right. So some team members are going to have to do it for you.
And so does the system, the Success Systems Pro, is part of it like a prompt or a guide, or is that something that I'm going, like, I can delegate and say, hey, just write this SOP, but if I want it done a certain way or format, like I don't care what the format is, but I would want it standardized across the team. So is that something that you're offering in this first launch, or is that more of a maybe something to consider for the future? Does my question make sense?
It does to me. Jonathan, how do you want to answer that?
I mean, you can create an SOP for an SOP. I mean, that's technically available. The system will have like you can add users, and everyone sees what they're permitted to see, and so they can somebody can upload a document, someone else can download that document and re-upload it, and it'll be changed for everyone. So that's definitely.
Let me give you an example. So in a prior life, I worked for a very large bank. And when you are under the Federal Reserve's jurisdiction, SOPs aren't an option. They're actually a requirement as part of your banking charter. But the Fed doesn't tell you what goes into an SOP. They just give you these vague descriptions. And so some people and some teams had a 40-page process to, sit down, get a cup of coffee, turn on your computer, right? Like to the nth degree, and a screenshot to go with every one of those. And other teams said something like, show up for work and, like didn't go through the mechanics of how to park in the parking garage. And of course, I'm being overly dramatic, but like some teams literally were like, navigate the cursor to the upper right-hand corner and hit the little X. And other teams just said, close the program. And so you ended up with procedures that sometimes were 3 pages and others that were 30 pages for the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to avoid, is that what's the right level of detail, and how do you coach somebody to that so that you don't end up with a Frankenstein SOP library?
I think the answer is you test them with the people that are going to be doing them, and you figure it out from there. And someone can say, hey, you could really delete steps 1 through 5. I'm good. I'm logged in and I'm running, like I don't need to know where to park.
Yeah.
But one example is I tried to give my daughter, who's an adult, 22 years old, she's a smart cookie, but I was trying to get her to do a task for me, and I was giving her way too much information. She's like, Mom, just write down step 1, step 2, step 3. I got it. And she's like, please, I don't need so much. Like, I got it. I can just follow the directions. Yeah. But I think that these are pieces, like if you come in and you say, well, I want it at this level, like we're going to guide that a little, and we're also going to figure it out, because what you do will be different than what Lilia does it'll be different than Diane, right? And so we will have to help you customize that a little bit. And that's actually the beauty of this, is like when you're in your system, then that's your system. It gets to be that thing that you want it to be. And it, you might have a logo on every SOP page. You might have I don't know, if those need to be like branded or whatever. You made me think of one other thing about that, but I think I might have lost it. What
Laura,
else on that? Yeah.
I have a question, because I'm wondering whether it would be something that a nonprofit, small nonprofit like ACT could use. We're at a stage where we haven't had much written down, and we are starting to do that. And we've tried to use Google Drive. We try to do this, and nothing
Yes.
consistent. But I don't know what
Answer
your
is
thoughts.
yes. And I'll tell you another reason why even one of their programs, which is their speakers that come in, even that one speaking program could be systematized, and someone could follow all the steps that you all need to schedule your speakers for the whole year or whatever. And someone could be doing these things for you. That's one example I know from ACT, just because I was involved as a speaker. So that's a great reason that they should have. I think everybody should have a system like this. Somebody even brought it to our attention that for a personal family, documents, systems of where people need to go to find things that you guys do as a family, or you have your, your legal documents and all your things that you want your kids to have access to and understand. That's a whole nother level that we aren't going to start with, but it was just interesting to me. And I thought, oh yeah, we all need that, don't we? Like we all need that place digitally where we can go and find everything that we need.
But you do think that this system could be utilized by an organization like ACT? It's
of course
small, and
there's going to have to be one primary user who takes responsibility for setting it up. And then they will probably need their main assistant who gets trained in how to get in there and where, they're going to probably, the two of those people will probably be responsible for setting that system up. But yes, definitely. That's a definite yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we want to honor your time today. And so we'll wrap up the Zoom recording so that our replay isn't too much longer than an hour, but we're happy to sit and answer more questions or even work through brainstorming your stuff with you. Jonathan, how do you want to roll out today for the folks or the replay watchers?
I mean, just a third reminder of if you're interested, go to the pre-sale page. It's half off for life, where I think it's a great deal. If you want to connect, the resources there should be there too. But yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks everyone on the recording for watching. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, you too. Have a great one. Thank you for coming, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.